today I'm going to be reading to you the first chapter from my new book, The Boy from the Sea, which is out now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble and Waterstones. If I can just find it. Right. Lear, age 4. There were 3 specific moments that defined Lear Murphy's childhood. For the first 6 years of his life, the Irish seaside town of Bundoran had been his entire world, though Lear could remember nothing of the place prior to his 4th birthday. In another life, another reality, he would have had no cause to remember this specific birthday either, for his early years had been decidedly happy and, above all else, unremarkable. But this was his life, his reality. And this reality began on Lear's 4th birthday. He was on the beach with his parents. Later he discovered that it was their favourite place to go because they couldn't afford to take him to caravan parks or zoos or even to the cinema. Lear, of course, had no concept of the fact his little family was poor. He was 4. What did money matter to him? They largely had the beach to themselves, for though the 10th of May that year was warm and particularly sunny, it was midweek and the local schools were not off on holiday yet. There were a few surfers out on the water. The waves were great by Bundoran, and Lear delighted in watching them ride a wave, crash, then invariably get back up to start all over again. When lunchtime approached, Lear and his parents ate buttered bread and nothing else. It was another sign of their poverty that he could not possibly have been aware of. Besides, Lear liked buttered bread. He was an easily satisfied child. The afternoon was dedicated to making sand castles and playing in the shallows. His father took Lear in his arms and charged through the waves until Lear was screaming in delight, urging him to go faster and deeper. In his arms, Lear felt safe from the rest of the world. He thought that feeling would last forever. His mother watched from the beach as she searched for rocks, holding a straw hat to her head as she did so. The hat had holes in it, though when Lear asked why she didn't get a new one, she merely replied that she loved this one specifically. As the sun drew closer to the horizon and the wind picked up, Lear was bundled into a blanket and given the last of the bread and butter to eat. His parents watched the final 2 surfers leave with bright, attentive eyes, though by this point so late in the day Lear himself had lost all interest in them. He was growing sleepy. He wanted to go home. The sun had almost set and the air turned chilly when his mother finally gave Lear her undivided attention, stroking his curly hair away from his face with tender fingers. "Stay here, Lear," she said. She began to fill the pockets of her jacket with the rocks she'd sourced earlier, after which his father did the same thing. "Be a good boy. I love you." "We love you," his father added on, kissing Lear's forehead for just a moment. Then he nodded at his wife, taking her hand as they stood up and walked towards the sea. At first Lear assumed they were going to play in the shallows without him and almost cried out in protest. But then they walked in deeper, and deeper, and deeper, until the small boy on the beach could hardly make out his parents at all. Then, between one blink and the next, a wave engulfed them and they were gone. Lear played with one of the remaining rocks his mother had collected for an interminably long time, turning the smooth unbroken surface over and over in his tiny hands. He bit at it, curious as only a 4-year-old could be about how it tasted. He stuck out his tongue in disgust when he realised all it tasted of was gritty sand and salt. When he heard sirens, it was well and truly dark. Lear was cowering from the cold inside his blanket, slipping from wakefulness to unconsciousness just as frequently as he breathed air into his lungs. He wondered where his parents were. He wondered why the police were running towards him, shining torches into his face until he cried. He wondered why he was gently placed in the back of a car and taken to the hospital, where his Aunt Orla took him in her arms and burst into tears. "Good Lord," she wailed, stroking Lear's hair so hard that it hurt. He pulled away from her hand, tilting his chin up to stare at her tear-stained face. "Where are Mummy and Daddy?" he asked. The question came out as a croak. "Where did they go?" "They went home," she said, though Lear thought she didn't sound in the least bit happy about this. "Their real home, that's all." Lear frowned at this concept. "In the sea?" Another sob. "Yes, sweetheart," Orla replied. "In the sea." This answer was enough for Lear. He was only 4 after all, and very, very tired. His parents had returned home to the sea.